What's up, guys? Here with you with FC Wonderkid, episode 136. Here with my guy, Bretson. How are you?
I'm good, man. Happy holidays to you. It's hard to believe that 136 episodes have passed here. We're getting to the end somehow of 2023. It's nice to know that we can always just talk football,
It's
right?
true. It's true.
Um,
We can talk football and we
it's
can do some predictions here. But a quick one: start bench sell Bretson with Cristiano
oh
Ronaldo,
God.
Eden Hazard, and Mo Salah. How would you line them up?
Oh, are you trying to get like some sort of Ronaldo hate or something out of me? No, you will never get that from me. I know Ronaldo. I know what he provides. Cristiano Ronaldo would start for me. And you know what? This isn't even difficult for me. I appreciate Mo Salah. I appreciate his consistency. I appreciate what already is a ridiculous legacy that is ongoing for Liverpool. But in terms of if I'm going absolute prime, Eden Hazard in his prime, and I'm putting him out there, I mean, he'd be on my bench, and then I'd sell Mo Salah because I know he's an asset to absolutely any team out there, and it's more about consistency with him than electrification of a football pitch. So yeah, I that might be I don't know. Does that deem myself controversial here? Or am I right? Is there a right answer to this?
Well, put in the comment section down below what would be your start bench sell community. But I would start Cristiano Ronaldo, I would bench Eden Hazard, and I would sell Mo Salah in prime talk. If it's longevity, I put Mo Salah on the bench and sell Hazard.
Yeah.
But with primes, one of the best dribblers I've ever seen in my life was Eden Hazard. So tell us down below your choices, people. But prime talk.
Would anybody not? Yeah, but would anybody not start Cristiano Ronaldo?
Oh, that would be a very critical opinion if anyone has that. I will definitely answer
Explain
that
yourself.
because start Cristiano Ronaldo is 100% the last Ballon d'Or contender in the Premier League. Something that Man United would dream to have right now. All their forwards, if we count Martial, Rashford, and Højlund, they've got 2 goals until the game of Liverpool 2. So that is so sad that that's the case. A team that has no solutions. Erik Ten Hag put the blame on Cristiano Ronaldo, but it's not his attitude that was the problem. Jadon Sancho was the last forward to score a goal in Old Trafford in the Premier League. That was in the 28th of May that happened. Don't blame it on Cristiano Ronaldo. So
Oh, it is. It is. I mean, bottom of their Champions League group. 7 losses, I believe, before the match versus Liverpool over the weekend. 7 losses at Old Trafford. I mean that's just is seemingly unheard of. But I think there's a humbling that's going on with Ten Hag, in a sense of I believe he realizes that there's like you have to hold on to Erik Ten Hag. I think.
right
I
now.
don't know of a better way through this. You do, yeah. You need consistency, and I know. I think I said that a while back. I might have even said that at one point with Solskjaer, but I honestly don't know. What are your other options, Manchester United?
It's true.
What are your options?
It's true.
And
They need a sporting director aligned with a top manager, but to get those two will be definitely very, very hard right now. But let us know too, what would be your suggestions for Man United? Because yes, Man United was last in the group in the Champions League with Galatasaray and Copenhagen. Big respect to Copenhagen for what they did with Højlund's brother and Rooney Vardy, but it's unacceptable. 1 win, 1 draw, and 4 losses in a Champions League campaign for a team like Man United. Things need to change, and they need to get a finisher for sure involved.
100%, 100%. And to add insult to injury, they were also bottom of their UEFA Youth League group. And we are a little biased here at FC Wonderkid, but we generally do look at the youth league. We love seeing guys like Kabi Mainu get his shot at glory here. But that's not a testament to what we know at one point had been a very strong suit for Manchester United, which was a burgeoning academy, an academy where you wanted to see men come through, and now that has switched even though Manchester City is not exactly having the greatest of days, at least in Pep's tenure, they have been able to give an opportunity as of late to some young bucks that actually really stepped up in their Champions League, their last Champions League tilt. But things in Manchester right now are pretty interesting. All sides.
Football heritage, Breton. It's football heritage, just like Jose Mourinho warned Man United fans. Man United has a horrible campaign in the Champions League, and in the other hand, Man City has an immaculate campaign. 100% wins in the Champions League. Times have changed. And Man City and Real Madrid are the only two teams in this Champions League campaign that have 100% wins, and only 13 teams in the past Champions Leagues managed to do the same. Incredible feats by two players that are the two stars, Erling Haaland and Jude Bellingham, that were beforehand teammates at Borussia Dortmund. It's just like someone's writing the story of football before our eyes, Breton. Come on. But Man City, it's absolutely worrying, okay, for me at least, to see their form right now at home in the Etihad. They were winning 2-0 Crystal Palace, and they drew 2-2. And the truth is, Man City's bad form right now is 1 win in their last 6 Premier League games and 4 draws. They need something new, and they definitely need Kevin De Bruyne back. Okay, that's what's needed. The sauce that isn't there anymore, and he will be the big difference, because we've seen Man City have hiccups in the past. But the truth is, Man City, if they win the Premier League this season, it will be the first time a Premier League team wins 4 in a row. And it's not easy to stay at the top. And this is the motivation. This bad form is the motivation that this team will need in the second half of the season, where people are starting to doubt. Never doubt Guardiola with this team. Just warning the FC Wonderkid fans. Okay? Never doubt.
But Guardiola, I mean, he understands this, and I'm gonna be honest with people. 1 win in 6, and the only win is over Luton Town. Yeah, fine. That I guess should scare you. It should spur you on. It should weed out complacency. I mean, Kyle Walker hasn't really looked good, right? There's been other players that just have not looked great.
Gvardiol.
But when it comes down to it, Gvardiol. But when it comes down to it, for me, it makes me appreciate the longevity and the consistency of what Pep Guardiola has put in place at Manchester City that much more. That we are talking about a 6-game, 1 win over 6 games, and you literally have people basically crying in the X streets, right, or crying in the Twitter streets about it. Is Guardiola capped? Is he complacent? Is he this? Is he that? But I am going to caution, not that anybody's necessarily listening to me, but I am going to caution Manchester City that you cannot rely on what obviously was the biggest proponent of last year's success. You cannot rely on just the Kevin De Bruyne effect. You cannot rely on that second half of the season, don't worry, we always catch him effect, because sometimes it doesn't materialize. You don't know if this stress reaction becomes the stress fracture that, kills. I was a distance runner back in the day. It is a death knell to get that stress reaction, because you have to, I don't know of a better word, but you have to pussyfoot around it to the point where you wind up getting that stress fracture, because it's impossible to keep stress reactions from becoming fractures if you are someone that literally needs to stand on your feet for 90-plus minutes and be as physically demanding as Erling Haaland is. So City's form is great, but at the same time, you cannot rely on just, don't worry, we'll catch him in the second half of the season. With that said, that's exactly what they're good at. I mean, it feels like if they are, by December 31st, through the festive fixtures, if they are within 5 to 8 points of Liverpool or Arsenal, or hell, even Aston Villa at the top, it will feel like Manchester City will come back in that second half of the season. So it's crazy what Pep Guardiola has done.
I think they will, Breton. And going with what you said, I said at the start, Man City have 100% wins in the Champions League. I know it's an easy group, but they still have those wins. In the Premier League, they may not have the best team right now, but they will get the top form soon when they have Rodri, when they have De Bruyne, when they have Haaland, Bernard Silva, all gearing up. And now this season, there's no Mahrez, but there's Doku. There's alternatives. And even a player like Rico Lewis, that Rico Lewis from Man City in the Champions League is the player with most minutes played and assists too. The player with most assists. So he's been vital at 19 years old. He's going to be an English national team player always from now on, and he deserves to be that, established too. Something that we can say too about Cole Palmer, that is right now one of the stars of Chelsea, and Chelsea beat Sheffield United 2-0, and Cole Palmer is the last Chelsea player to have a goal and an assist in the same game consecutively in his last 3 games. This is phenomenal, okay? Cole Palmer to be doing this, and Cole Palmer for Chelsea right now, 6 goals, 3 assists in the Premier League. He's been called up for England. He did the right choice to go to London. So the start of a great career is upon us with Chelsea, with Cole Palmer.
Well, yes. As you said, 6 goals, 3 assists in his last 10 Premier League games. He is possibly the only one on the field for Chelsea. Because let's not get ahead of ourselves. It was a win over Sheffield United, who is bottom of the table. It should have been a win. But he is the only one that when he receives the ball, you feel like something. Every time he touches it, something's going to happen. He's the only one on that field for me, right? That feels that way. And that in and of itself, at 21 years old, coming out of the shadows, right, of Manchester City, wanting not a bigger stage, but a more consistent stage to play on. That in and of itself is absolutely massive. And one thing that did not escape me, Alex, is I did see that Enzo Fernandez was not in the 11. And I'm going to say this right now, and I haven't quite thought this out. Maybe somebody else in the comments can continue to fill this in. But Enzo Fernandez not in the 11 makes sense to me, and here's why. He's too good for Chelsea. He's too good for Chelsea.
So
He's
how should Chelsea play?
Chelsea is.
Conor Gallagher?
I don't know. And
Caicedo?
I know. Conor Gallagher is better for Chelsea in this moment right now. Conor Gallagher is better for Chelsea in this moment right now. That is not saying that Enzo Fernandez is a worse player. Enzo Fernandez is a Rolls Royce, and right now they need a Ford. Okay? They need somebody that is just an engine room for the most part, that is direct, that plays. Enzo Fernandez is too good. This is exactly where my ability to communicate this point well probably plays out. It'll probably get misconstrued, but Enzo Fernandez is too good for that 11. And to be honest, I think he should be somewhere else in January. It's not going to happen, but he should be somewhere else in January because Cole Palmer is built for this Chelsea moment. Conor Gallagher is built for this Chelsea moment, right? Enzo Fernandez should be on a Manchester City. Enzo Fernandez should be on a Bayern Munich or something, right? Fighting for Champions League. That's just my opinion. It's not to say I did already say that he's too good for Chelsea. But for this moment, that's why I think Enzo might not be in the 11 as much as we think he's going to be in the near future.
Well, Enzo and Caicedo, for me, are the 2 players in midfield that have the best capabilities. But Conor Gallagher, until now, has been the best midfielder. That, for me, is fact. But Pochettino coming out and saying, our reality is mid-table is embarrassing for a Chelsea manager to be saying this. After what? They spent $1 billion? That cannot be the case. And Nkunku's going to be back. You don't have the best goalkeeper. Still, you got Robert Sanchez. You got Nicolas Jackson. These are players that arrived with the expectations of having a difference. I cannot accept Chelsea fans saying, we need Osimhen or bust. No, you need to start believing in your team and backing what they can do right now. Enzo and Caicedo, for me, Bretson, that has to be the double pivot anytime.
I hear you.
And Cole Palmer should be there, and then Nkunku should be at winger, if in order for all them to play. That cannot be the case. The statement, that statement got me so mad. But I do believe they'll be getting Osimhen, that had one of the best assists this weekend to Kvaratskhelia. Please go see the tape. And Osimhen was considered the best African player in 2023. Completely deserved. And he's obviously the player that suits the best Chelsea's needs. If he comes to Chelsea, they automatically are a top 6 contender. Not playing like this right now with teams like Newcastle, Brighton, Aston Villa, all ahead of them, and Tottenham too.
Well,
All ahead.
I agree with you wholeheartedly on that statement, right? But it is kind of a characteristic of what Chelsea is dealing with right now, and that kind of, I guess, plays into that Enzo just being too big. And I think Moises Caicedo too at some point will snap back to his best form. He's already playing a little bit better here and there, but they bought too much too soon for where they are as a club in terms of whatever this rebuild is, whatever new strategy Todd Boehly has come up with as of late. So I will be really, really interested to see what they do with Enzo from here on out. And yeah, I know it's Sheffield United. He probably was due a rest anyway, whatever. But it is really interesting that they obviously played maybe a little more of their most comprehensive game without him in there, because I think Enzo's he's a Rolls Royce and you need a Ford. I'll say it again.
And Thiago Silva is the real captain of Chelsea too. It's not Reece James. It's not Levi Colville. It's the veteran that knows what to do. Thiago Silva needs more responsibility because he deserves it with what he's done in football. The real captain of Chelsea too.
And yes, and that was also a mistake. I said it day one, and I'm not the only one that said it. But when they announced Reece James and they announced Ben Chilwell, I said, oh gosh, that's only a matter of time until both of those guys are out injured. And no, I don't want to see Reece James injured. No, I don't want to see Chile injured. No, I don't want to see anyone. I don't even want to see Cucurella injured. When it comes down to it, though, why are you naming them? Name him vice captain, fine. But Thiago Silva is the true captain of that team. That's exactly who deserves it. Thick or thin, if he wants to play until he's 45, he could probably still have the captain's armband because he's the only one that's going to help these guys get out of this muck. And yeah, okay. Sheffield United was a step in the right direction, but the injuries continue to keep on coming. Cucurella is going to be out, so you're going to see Malo Gusto, you're going to see Levi Colville get all the game time in the world from here on out, with Reece James again on a sideline for the next 3-4 months potentially. And also, Robert Sanchez is now out, and he'll be out probably for the next 2-3 months. But I like this from my MLS days, my MLS bias. You've got one of Todd Boehly's signings, Major League Soccer, New England Revolution, Georgi Petrovic got his first start in goal. And he clean-sheeted Sheffield United. And it's generally a good thing when you're not commenting on a Chelsea goalkeeper after a game, because it generally means that they didn't have much to do. And that's exactly what Chelsea fans probably want from here on out. But good on Georgi Petrovic for getting his first start. Congratulations to the New England Revolution to seeing their goalkeeper from the last few years elevated to such a level. So that was cool.
It's true. Pekovic, that was quite interesting to see, but that's still the problem at Chelsea. You had Kepa and Mendy. Much better keepers than the player that you just mentioned. How can they downgrade so hard in every single sector? That cannot be the case when you see other teams ascending in the Premier League right now. And one of them is Tottenham. Tottenham that appointed the right manager with Ange Postecoglou. 2 wins now, back to back. It's nice to see things are changing. And Vicario is the goalkeeper with most clean sheets in the Premier League. The best goalkeeper is still Alisson, but it's good to see that the immediate impact of Vicario is to make the difference. Something that we should see with every single goalkeeper that lands in a top team. And Verbruggen, interesting to see for Brighton. He had quite good saves against Arsenal too. But yes, Ange Postecoglou arrived at Tottenham, understands the culture of Tottenham, improved a lot of players already at Tottenham, the likes of Papsach, Bissouma, Pedro Porro, and the players he did on transfer were all good choices. The majority of them, at least. Madison, the big highlight, Mickey van de Ven, and now Vicario, like I'm mentioning. This is the difference. Understanding the culture and making the difference towards it. The only player I'd say that for Pochettino is literally Cole Palmer. And I think that's more of a Cole Palmer thing than a Pochettino difference, in my point of view. But let us know. Let us know what you're thinking. We'll Tottenham win a trophy this season.
I don't know, man. Those injuries keep stacking up. Those injuries keep stacking up as well, and it's pretty ridiculous to see. And Bissouma, as great as it has been to see him kind of shine for Big Ange and Spurs this season. He needs to slow that roll because that's his second red card in a very young season, and he hurt that game. He hurt that game a whole lot. In getting sent off, and Brennan Johnson getting injured against Forest, that's tough to see. But all the other players, everyone that's for the most part that's coming in has been great. Dejan Kulusevski, one of the big things we talked about in the offseason for him was that finishing or the ability to just get that finishing product on the plate, and he has done that. And hey, don't. I wouldn't start betting on him, Alex, but don't count Richarlison out. He has scored a few goals.
3 goals in the last 2 games.
Got what? You got to give him some love for that. Obviously, you can't go back and rewrite time and give him goals for the last season and a half. But this is exactly what you need right now with as many injuries as Spurs has got. Big Ange is keeping that flow. He's keeping trust in the way Spurs plays. So you need a Richarlison. You do. Whether you like it or not, you need a Richarlison until you find somebody else.
For sure. Because the difference is Richarlison, yes, scores 3 goals in his last 2 games in the Prem, but still, you need guarantees, Breton. And guarantees come with a Santiago Giménez or another striker like Victor Gyökeres that would have an immediate impact for Tottenham. I do expect, not maybe in January, but definitely in the summer, if they don't get in January, a striker to arrive at Tottenham. And more midfielders too, because I see Højbjerg news to leave. But yes, you're talking about injuries, and the perfect team to end on my side with the Premier League is Newcastle. Because Newcastle reacted extremely well towards the injuries that they had, and Dan Burn was back in the 11, and Dan Burn scored. But my highlight with Newcastle is Bruno Guimarães is a legend in the making for Newcastle. He's got 81 games, 11 goals, 9 assists in his record for this team. And Bruno Guimarães, if he were to leave Newcastle, 100 million minimal. Okay, but they don't need the money. So I expect him to become a legend of this team if they convince him that Newcastle is the right project for his career. That, come on, like reminiscent with David Silva a bit, Bruno Guimarães, at the start with City.
And listen, Newcastle were handed a group of death in the Champions League. It was always going to be tough to get out of it. I think injuries, the Tonali suspension, all that stuff has really hurt their depth to be able to compete on both ends, but you got a glimpse of what Newcastle could provide, and on top of that, you got a glimpse on how much of a fortress St. James Park is going to be from here on out. I mean, 8 wins I think they have in 9 matches this season, and I know Raul Jimenez made that a very easy day for them, getting sent off very early, but you are 100% spot on about Bruno Guimarães, and I'm going to just add one more kind of untangible, non-tangible that Bruno Guimarães provides. I think he was the only one on the pitch probably happier than Lewis Miley when Lewis Miley scored his first Premier League goal. I think he had a bigger smile than Lewis Miley had on his face after seeing this 17-year-old who has not looked out of place at all with all of these injuries, watching him become the youngest Premier League scorer for Newcastle United of all time. And on top of that, I think he's the youngest in over 15 years in the Premier League to score a goal. So just to see Bruno celebrate with this kid, to feel that goal as much as Lewis felt it on the day, that's just another kind of testament to his character and what he provides to that Newcastle team. Such a shrewd, smart signing, and it makes me wonder when we get to our U23s that need moves, why they don't go after a couple other Lyon players that need exits from here on out. But listen, St. James Park, Newcastle at St. James Park is wonderful. But just imagine if Newcastle had any sort of an ounce of away form this season. I mean, if you just took away form, Alex, this season in the Premier League, they'd be so close to relegation they could taste it. Okay? If you just took the away form, they're horrendous away. I mean, recently they turned into a different team, losing 3-0 to Everton. I get, we'll talk about Everton in a second, but I get Everton's reformed. I get they're on their way back and they've got a common enemy. but they also lost 2-0 to Areola's Bournemouth.
A good
I mean,
team.
there's just some shock results in that side, and that's a conundrum that Eddie Howe needs to solve for the second half of the season. But still doing.
I
Yeah.
think it's interesting to refer the away end, and I think the away results, and I think that comes in hand with the experience of injured players that are out. Players like Botman, players like now Dan Burn is back, but I believe they need to improve on that end. Even Trippier that wasn't there, but Tino Livramento, I've seen that he's got Portuguese heritage and Scottish heritage too. But please pick Portugal, okay, to represent, because he can play left back and right back, one of the best young fullbacks in the world right now. I'm going to say that. It might be a bold statement for many, but look how he plays for Newcastle when he gets a chance. Very secure and very good. Reliable, okay, for this Newcastle team. And what I got to say on Newcastle, last thing is Anthony Gordon. 6 goals, 4 assists in the Premier League. Bruno Guimarães, Anthony Gordon, Dan Burn, Nick Pope, Botman, all players that came to Newcastle and understood the project and are willing to show a lot of hard work towards winning with the project. Something that we don't see with Tottenham, with United, and something we see with Tottenham too, with the players that they're getting. It's all about the transfer policy and the way they play with the team. Ange Postecoglou with Tottenham, successful. Newcastle with Eddie Howe, successful too. So Erik ten Hag with United, that's what you need to fix. The right transfer policy with the right manager. I wanted to refer to that. And Arsenal is like a cheat code. It makes sense. Arsenal without Dita, like the security and the stability that they have. Arsenal is now a Champions League team. Arsenal is a team with Saliba, Odegaard, Declan Rice, Martinelli, so many players that are well established and one step away of being considered world class. And Saka, the stardom, then the world class player already for me. So to the stepping stones towards getting to City, Arsenal is the closest team, and Liverpool towards having that consistent, established, winning culture. And yeah, Man United's so away.
I know it's too soon to say it, but come on, Aston Villa. Okay, keep going, baby. Unai Emery with another feather in his cap. He is, instead of, let's see. He has made Villa Park, Unai Emery has made Aston Villa's Villa Park a verified fortress. Okay, we know this, right? Now, recently, he has also added to their repertoire last gasp equalizers to save points. That's nice. But most recently, over the weekend, he added a last gasp remontada to win 2-1 over Brentford, and a big win for them. And it's just another feather in the cap of whatever culture has been developed at Unai Emery. But man, this week, the last 2 weeks for Aston Villa has really beamed them up into an upper echelon of consistency that I don't think we're all quite giving them enough credit for. I mean, to beat the teams that they beat, including getting over the Pep Guardiola, Mikel Arteta hump, and then to come back and qualify through their group, right, in Europe. And then on top of that, to get this remontada win versus Brentford with a nice little Boubacar Kamara assist on the match winner. I love it. I love what they're doing, and I just think I hope it continues, man. I mean,
Aston Villa, it's true. Aston Villa has 25 Premier League wins this calendar year, their best ever record, and 81 points with all those wins. Only Man City are ahead of Aston Villa with Unai Emery. And people are still surprised of how Unai Emery is a top-class manager. 4 Europa League ones for a reason. 3 in a row with Sevilla and 1 with Villarreal, in which Villarreal, really good job done. Unai Emery, for me, underrated manager. And Sean Dyche too. Sure. That Sean Dyche, what he's doing at Everton, it's been phenomenal. And Everton in their last 4 Premier League games, 4 wins and 0 goals conceded. It's with Braithwaite, it's with Pickford, it's with the right players with the right style of play too. Once again, Sean Dyche, the right manager for Everton. And if they didn't have those 10-point deduction, they would be 1 point away of Man United. So that was their motivation, and it's changed their season. So let's pay attention to Everton now. Gotta pay
Yeah,
attention.
and just to remind people, you can thank the Federation for this, right? Because now they've got that common enemy, and they are fighting. They're already basically clear of relegation, but Sean Dyche is probably also just very, very angry at watching what Vincent Kompany has done to his Burnley.
True.
So he's going to make sure that Everton stays clear of this so that they can open their stadium as a Premier League team. And who knows? He might be replaced before then. He might move on. They might outgrow him. But it all comes down to being in sync. It comes down to having that common enemy. And on top of that, they've got something that Newcastle doesn't, and that is away form. They have won 6 of their last 7 away matches. 6 of their last 7 away matches. And that's doing it with a lot of the same structure, a lot of the same players that were stuck in this mire of last season's relegation battle, right? That they had to fight for their life. And Amadou Onana, I'm just going to say it again, that midfield is still so fun to watch. Amadou Onana specifically this weekend impressed the heck out of me, as he does, as that Swiss Army knife, that utility man that just does so much work within that Everton midfielder. So I agree. The same way we're doing a PSV heat check. I know they're not at the tippy top of the table, but you got to do an Everton heat check right now because they are feeling it and they are all in each other's corners. And to be honest, I think they've unified the fan base, which was relatively fractured last season, with how to proceed ahead in terms of fighting the ownership group, fighting different. They still got a lot to work through, but Everton is flying high right now, and good on you.
It's true. Very, very true. And that ends our Premier League talk, people. Let us know down below, what have we missed? Let us know what are your predictions towards Chelsea, towards Everton, towards City, and towards Man United that needs definitely a lot to change. Let us know down below in the comment section. La Liga title race. It's been definitely interesting. That's the best definition because it's the Brasileirão. It's La Liga that we're seeing as Girona leading the way. So interesting to see. And Atletico de Madrid having a tough time against Bilbao. Anything can happen this season in La Liga, and we gotta highlight the bad form too of Barcelona. Xavi ball is not going well right now, and Barcelona have gone 17 Barcelona has gone 17 games without winning for more than 1 goal. That shows the lack of efficiency, and Barcelona are first in big chances missed in La Liga, and first in expected goals. Lewandowski needs to do better and expect Vitor Roque to have a chance. Vitor Roque can make something happen for this Barcelona team. If you see him play with Atletico de Paranés, you will know. Vitor Roque had 44 games, 21 goals, and 7 assists in 2023. Lewandowski, this is what you need. Competition in order to maybe get a Piccini. That was very bold when you're competing against Jude Bellingham right now.
Yeah, it is. And who's in second place but
Griezmann.
former Real Madrid? No. Well, no, it's Borja Mayoral.
Mayoral.
For Getafe.
Okay, good player.
Former Real Madrid loanee. He's up to 10 goals now for Getafe. But listen, you already said it. I think you put the blame kind of squarely, obviously, on the attack right now. I mean, nobody can make Xavi make Ferran Torres put the ball in the back of the net, make Rafinha put the ball in the back of the net, make Lewandowski put the ball into the back of the net. You would think that their quality would precede themselves and they'd get it done. But we all knew at some point Lewandowski would slow down some. I'm not saying he's not going to score a whole lot of goals and heat up again, but come on. I mean, that's like, he's a pretty old striker. He's been out there for a really long time, and he definitely seems like he's slowing down some, which is weird to say. But I think one of the bigger things that might be getting papered over some is, I guess I'll call him, just because they both start with G, but I'll call him the Gavi glue. Gavi is a bigger piece to that midfield than I think anyone was aware of. Yeah, I mean, I think his tenacity, his persistence, I mean, a lot of those intangibles we talk about, on top of the fact that he could go deep lying, he could play forward, he could play on the either flank if he needed to. I mean, he was wear your heart on the sleeve type of a Barcelona
Captain, yeah.
appeal. Yeah, and I know he's so young, but I guess maybe the Gavi glue is a real thing
It's
because
true.
he is that glue to that midfield. And I think I certainly wasn't giving him enough credit for maybe what's happening there. No, does that force those three gentlemen up top? Or I know João Felix is like the only one scoring goals right now, but any of those guys, it doesn't force them to put the ball into the back of the net. But I think missing Gavi is a big piece to this kind of hiccup here. And this is a nice test of what Xavi's managerial skills are. Because we have to remember, Xavi is a ridiculous player, but his managerial career has been relatively limited before taking over Barcelona. So this is a really interesting period of time as they chase Real Madrid and they chase Girona of all teams at the top of the table. But
And for Deku,
I think
as
they'll
a
get back
sporting
to it.
director too, for Deku, he was just appointed.
Yeah.
Deku didn't appoint Xavi. So that it must be a tense time if things don't go well. If Barca don't finish top 2, Xavi's going to have a tough time with Deku. It's not going to be some difficult conversations would happen. And right now, Frenkie de Jong can play, Pedri can play, Gundogan can play, Oriol Romeu can play. And without Gavi, we see a bad Barcelona. He's the heartbeat of that team and the captain of the team too. Intensity in duels, leadership in terms of the pitch. You can see every single point Gavi does take over, Breton. I completely agree. And the Barca team is desperate towards having a CDM, a top-class CDM. Kimmich or Zubimendi would do just that. Not having a midfield with Pedri, Frenkie de Jong, and Gundogan, that all of them cannot do what a Busquets role or a Rodri can do. That's why I'm referring to Zubimendi and Zubimendi and Kimmich. Players that would change immediately the style of play and are very, very needed. Very needed, Brett.
Yeah, well,
and wingers, efficiency. Barcelona need efficiency with their wingers. The best trio we've ever seen at Barcelona, that iconic trio with Messi, Suarez, and Neymar, they scored 364 goals in 3 seasons. We do not have remotely the same feeling with the front trio now at Barcelona. The downgrade is immense. Even a Luis Suarez at Grêmio, right now at Barcelona, he would be scoring goals. Back in 2020, one of the worst decisions ever in Barcelona history happened by letting go of Luis Suarez for 6 million to Atletico de Madrid. And he scored 21 goals that season for Atletico, and Atletico won La Liga, their first time in 7 years. 7 years, the Luis Suarez effect, and they replaced him with Braithwaite. I hope Deku doesn't do decisions like this for the future of Barcelona. It can happen. Alemany left. I want to see better solutions, Breton. Wingers that score goals. Ansu Fati's at Brighton. Ansu Fati scores more than Rafinha, in my point of view.
Heck, I'd like to see more of Mark Gay, but I don't know if he's going to give him the opportunity.
He will.
There,
he has to.
You think so?
He has to.
Okay.
He has to.
You
Mark
need
Gay
somebody. You
and
need
Vitor
somebody
Roque.
with a chip on his shoulder, right? And I think only La Masia can provide that right now. You need a chip on their shoulder, someone that is going to fight tooth and nail. I'm going to be. This is a little tongue-in-cheek, and it's probably a little too forward, but from what I've watched of Barcelona, the one thing I am not is entertained.
Exactly.
Right? There's a project that's happening here. I'm sure Xavi will get to that. He probably doesn't have the personnel he needs, so obviously I'm willing to wait. But if it's the difference between a Barcelona game and a Real Madrid game, and I am a complete neutral, right, in this scenario, I'm going to pick the Real Madrid game.
For sure.
As it stands in terms of how Xavi is lining them up. And I think he's capable of probably expecting more of them, but he probably doesn't have the personnel he needs to do it just yet. But I do have to say, as much as I like Vitor Roque, seeing the pictures and the videos of Endrick coming off of a second Brazilian Round Championship at the tender age of whatever the heck he
17.
is, much younger than I am, right? 17 years old. Watching him have a conversation with Eduardo Camavinga, with Jude Bellingham, already looking like he's part of, right, Los Blancos. It is pretty interesting to see how that is just kind of an addendum to an already incredibly strong core of Wonderkid
Well
Galacticos
said.
that they've amassed there.
Well
So
said.
it's interesting, and yet Barcelona is not out of the race, and yet Barcelona is not out of Champions League football. So they are still in this thing. But January, I don't know what magic they can pull, considering, or what levers they can pull to get who they need. So Vitor Roca, it's going to come down to whether or not he can hit that ground running.
Imagine
to use a cliche,
Echeverri.
and
Imagine Echeverri with
Ooh.
Lamine Yamal, both wings for Barcelona. It's the second half of the season. It'll cost 25 million Barcelona, but it would be promising to watch. And then a Vitor Roque to replace a Lewandowski, boy, oh boy. Rafinha, it's not looking good. And I'm talking about under 18 players to replace Rafinha. Okay, Rafinha needs to start scoring goals. Rafinha needs to start looking like a Brazil national team player to start, because Martinelli's here to stay. Paquetá, even a hat-trick of assists.
Ooh.
Elite
second
players.
Second Brazilian to do that. Second Brazilian, right? In Premier League history to do that?
Roberto Firmino being the first. Yes, for sure.
That's correct.
That is fact. And Kudus and Paquetá, what a duo that is growing in London, okay? I wanted to mention that. But you said Real Madrid, it's fact. Hendrik has an aura when he meets those players of Real Madrid. Hendrik, you can see that he's charismatic at 17. Hendrik is a team a player that will not leave the Brazil national team anymore. Hendrik is a world-class potential player. And the Jude Bellingham Hendrik duo will do proper damage next season. It will be Hendrik talked big time. I'm not predicting already ahead of Rodrigo and ahead of Vinicius, but I've said it. The potential of Hendrik is to win a Ballon d'Or in the next 5 years if he goes right with Ancelotti. Ancelotti or Xabi Alonso. That would be...
But what Endrick possesses that is going to hurt Barcelona long term because of his rapid ascent to stardom. Endrick possesses that intangible that is just that desire to win, and that desire to fight for every ball. I remember being more impressed than the goals that he scored for Palmeiras. Being more impressed with his constitution on the pitch, right? His ability to run after every ball. And I don't know, that probably softens over the years, right? When you're 23 and you're just making millions and millions and millions. But this kid right now will fight for every inch, and that is going to be such a boon, like a good addition to Real Madrid's second half of the season. Assuming, nothing bad happens there. But I just think that if you're picking Endrick over Vitor Roca, I think Barcelona would rather have Endrick lining up for their 11 than Vitor Roca.
Ooh, that's early. And that's a debate in Brazil.
It is early.
Right now, Vitor Roque and Hendrik, they have the same potential in my point of view. But I agree. In terms of talent, raw talent, I think Hendrik has more than Vitor Roque. Vitor Roque, trabalha, meu caro. É o início. It's the start, okay? And we for sure believe in Vitor Roque. We follow him since he was at Cruzeiro. Vitor Roque. But right now, if Jude Bellingham gets a shoulder injury for Real Madrid, no more Champions League and no more La Liga 1. No more La Liga 1. Even Girona can be ahead of Jude Bellingham. No, Real Madrid. They need him. If they don't have Jude Bellingham, that will be very bad. But this season, Real Madrid, no Courtois, no Militão, no Camavinga, no Tchouaméni at times, no Vinicius at times, but Bellingham was consistently there, and Hendrik, I believe, in the future will consistently be there too. Calafat masterclass in scouting with Florentino Perez. It's not easy to do a rebuild and to stay at the top, just like we see with Man City this season. Real Madrid are doing a great job and great scouting. Great scouting.
Well, and listen, I know even though the La Liga table says otherwise, right? I know we can't count Girona
I'm
at
seeing
the
great
top
scouting,
of
Breton.
these powerhouses, but listen, if we're talking great scouting,
Exactly.
City Football Group being a 47% owner, they obviously deserve a whole lot of love. Heck, for those of you that don't know, Pep Guardiola's brother, Per Guardiola, is the chairman and also a minority investor / minority owner of Girona as well. And yes, while they are City Football Group built, if you will, or financed,
47%.
that does not Yeah, that does not take away from their ability to identify talent that will go in and immediately become part of the fabric of what Girona is trying to do. Yes, there is a good amount of overperformance here, probably to whatever the mean is that we have not identified. But they have done what they have done to be near the top of the table, right? They have done what they have done by identifying wonderful pieces that can contribute right away at a La Liga level, a leading La Liga level. And I'm talking about bringing in Eric Garcia from Barcelona, bringing in Daley Blind on a free, bringing in Pablo Torre, who has not had a massive impact just yet, but I am going to say it right now, Pablo Torre will have a big second half of the season for Girona as their depth gets tested. Bringing in Paulo Gazzaniga, bringing in Alex Garcia was a free transfer. Cost them nothing. And that guy could be sold for 2025 right now and be their all-time large, all-time club record sale. So all of that pales in comparison, doing it on shoestring budget is pretty amazing. And yet when they spend money, they have hit pretty much every time. Bringing in Saigankov from Dynamo Kiev, bringing in Artem Dovbyk is their club record signing, and he's got 8 goals, 4 assists this season. I don't know what to tell you. It might be a lot of luck there, but you have to give them a whole lot of credit for what they are getting for what is currently on their roster. And Christian Stuani, 37-year-old Uruguayan striker, is like the purest testament to this because he has been with them through their promotion originally, then their relegation, then their subsequent promotion again, and now they are second place in La Liga's table, and he's got 6 goals, 2 assists, and just had a goal and an assist against Barcelona as they became, captains of the Catalunya, whatever you want to call it, right? So it is just... we don't talk enough about how cool this story is, or maybe we do, but I love talking about it. And their manager, Michel, deserves credit as well. I don't know too much about where he came from, but it is going to be interesting.
He came from Huesca, and he is an investment from Guardiola's brother. The chairman of Girona trusts a lot Michel that has 108 games for Girona managing. This shows you got to trust your manager and pick the right players for the right style of play. Girona is shows that that's the definition of fact when you do things the right way. Girona, Newcastle, we have new teams ascending to the world's highest level in football. And it's all because of elite scouting and great decision making. Guardiola's brother chairman is elite for Girona for what he's doing. He's been a key factor in Savi's decision, Miguel Gutierrez's decision, players like Artem Dovbyk, Jan Koto too. What a right back he's playing for Girona.
Absolutely.
That at Braga wasn't at his best, but at Girona he's proving to be key. Alex Garcia, 3 goals, 4 assists, and he was selected for Spain. The captain of Girona, as you mentioned, came for free. So good decision-making being rewarded. But do you believe Girona will finish top 3 in La Liga, Breton?
I'm going to say that I don't think this magic is fizzling out anytime soon. I believe that there is enough parity within La Liga, enough fixtures where Barcelona will drop points, or even Real Madrid will drop points from here on out. I believe Girona will finish top 3 by the end of the season, and I do believe that they will be in European football. Which I think would just be amazing to see.
Bold.
And you know who's not in European football? It's kind of like a changing of the guard in some respects. Sevilla, dead last, Champions League, and just let go of Diego Alonso. Diego Alonso after 14 games. 14 games, and he's gone. It's turmoil for them. But I know a lot of Europa League teams are sighing a wonderful sigh of relief, seeing that Sevilla is sent home without anything going on. But they did. They followed up getting a dead last in their Champions League group with, I don't know, losing to Getafe 3-0.
So that was bad. That was bad. And Lyon did beat them, which did disable the fact that they can go to the 3rd place and get Europa League. And Sergio Ramos was definitely not happy to not get European competitions in a Sevilla team that he went to play European football. So that was not good to see. But we have another topic that we want to mention. The under 23 players, under 23 players, that the big teams are definitely going to be fighting for them. We're not going to say for sure that they'll be leaving, but we want to refer to them because they are going to be talked massively in January and the next summer too. My first player will be Nico Williams, that signed an extension for Atletico Bilbao. But Nico Williams right now in La Liga has 3 goals and 5 assists. He's the leader, joint leader in assists. He's the number 1 player in terms of attacking threats and second in dribbles. This is what Barca needs. A player efficient and young and a starter for the national team. Players that gives guarantees. This is what Barca needs, Nico Williams. Wanted to refer to Nico Williams, Breton.
That is going to be the fight for sure. And it's just whether or not he winds up in the Prem or La Liga for me. I would love to see him in the Prem. I just don't know. I don't know with who. But yeah, no, I love that. I'm going to go a little bit younger here. And I know, young goalkeepers, right, that are starting across top 5, top 7 Euro leagues. They're a dime a dozen, right? They don't come around very often. But the raw talent on Guillaume Restes, who plays for Toulouse. Toulouse, I think there's only one player that has played every minute this season, and that is this 18-year-old goalkeeper, Guillaume Restes. And it reminds me a little bit of Albin Lafont and Ilan Meslier's kind of ascendancy. And then, Lafont kind of stagnated. He had some injuries, and Meslier has kind of, he's down in the championship, fighting their way back up with Leeds United. Restes, I think, is probably going to learn from that and maybe hold off on making a big jump, because what I'm seeing right now is Bayern Munich really would like to sign him as the long-term successor to Manuel Neuer, which makes sense, but you also don't want to sign him to just come sit right there.
Exactly.
So Restes like the next decision, because let's be honest, French goalkeepers, you never know what's going to happen. He's under contract until 2028. But I really, really love the raw talent of this kid. Toulouse has had a tough go of it in Liga 1 this season because guess what? They're fighting in the Europa League. They made it through the Europa League group. He's already playing Europa League football as an 18-year-old goalkeeper, playing against Liverpool, playing against Union Saint-Gilloise. They made it through. They'll play in the knockout rounds, and they are also fighting for the first time in a long time in Ligue 1, and they're not having a great go of it after having an amazing season last season. So Guillaume Restes, 18-year-old goalkeeper for Toulouse, has got to be one you've got to watch if you don't know him yet, which I'd be shocked if you don't know him yet.
One of the biggest wonder kids in Liga. Definitely a goalkeeper. It reminds me too, Breton, about Albon Lafont. Hey, so many parallels. But my players, now I'm going to be a bit Portuguese biased because, yes, I follow the Portuguese league. I always watch Sporting, I always watch Benfica, and I always watch Porto. So for sure, I'm going to be mentioning 2 players in these 5. Okay. But I for sure don't want them to leave in January, okay, people in this video. I don't want Gonçalo Inácio to leave in January Sporting. But do I understand the interest? For sure. A team like Liverpool, a team like Man United are desperate for a player like Gonçalo Inácio. An elite passer that adds a lot of experience at such a young age. Gonçalo Inácio has played 143 games for Sporting. That is monumental, and Gonçalo Inácio has been selected for Portugal. He's played 4 games for the national team, and he will not be leaving. He is the future of Portugal, left-footed, young center-back with experience, with elite passing. That is one of the best traits, if not the best trait, of Gonçalo Inácio. So you have been warned. Gonçalo Inácio suitors, all the hype is real for Gonçalo Inácio.
Well, you forgot to add the qualifier of elite goal scorer as well.
In corners. He's very good in set pieces, yes. He scored 2 goals for Portugal. And he scored this week in Europa League. Twice.
Oh man, I know a team in the Premier League that basically only scores off of corners, and I think that's Everton. But I think that's a little bit out of their price range, Gonçalo Inácio. But I find it really hard pressed that he does not leave in January, because there is that much love for him and that much desire for defensive reinforcements for some massive clubs. So, you're 100% correct. There's going to be a battle for Inácio, for sure.
For sure.
A battle, yeah.
Who would you pick, Gonçalo Inácio or Todibo?
Ooh.
I would pick
Todibo has a
Gonçalo
little bit of an
Inácio
injury history.
hard.
Yeah, he's got an injury history. I'd pick Inacio as well. Yeah.
The best passer. He may not be as physical as Todibo, but he is a very smart center back. Please pay attention. You have been warned. The Gonçalo Inácio hype is real, people.
Love it. Love it. Well, I'll go back. I don't know why I'm in Liverpool's group in the Europa League a lot. I'm going to talk about Mohamed Amora, 23-year-old forward. And why am I going to talk about a Union Saint-Gilloise striker who has really only made 7 starts this season? Because we all know the pedgree that has come out of Union Saint-Gilloise right now, right?
Yeah.
We saw Victor Boniface, we saw Teddy Tuma, we saw Simon Adingra on loan, we saw Matoma before that. We've seen Dante Vanzier, but Mohamed Amora is an Algerian international that was bought for a paltry sum. Not even like 10% of what they got for Boniface. Bought from Lugano in the Swiss Super League. Didn't even make the starting 11 for Union Saint-Gilloise this season, coming off of them winning last season, right? And what we're looking at right now is a player that just had a goal and an assist against Liverpool in their last game in the Europa League. He then, you look at his Pro League starts, and he's got 7 starts with 12 goals for Union Saint-Gilloise. And a team that lost Adingra from loan, they lost Boniface, they lost Tuma, they lost Seni Leinen, who was a very good midfield conductor for them, to Werder Bremen. They are on top of the table again because this guy cannot stop scoring. He's already an Algerian international. And it's somebody that if you watch Boniface's ascendancy, you're going to have to watch what they're going to do for Amora. Now, I think January is too early, but I think you're going to see a lot of hype around him over the coming months. In January, you're going to get definitely a lot of like, what's next? Because if Boniface goes for 20 and this guy matches his output, my guess is that, inflation is probably going to lead to him going for 20 plus. Right, in the near future, if he can keep this up. Now, I don't think he's as talented as Boniface, but then again, he only just got started. 7 starts, 12 goals. This kid is he's killing it, and he's only 23 years old.
And you're mentioning Saint-Gilloise. Pay attention to Puertas. Puertas is a great distributor on ball. I like this kid, okay? Royal Saint-Gilloise keeps on delivering. Yep. The same owner as Brighton.
Brighton, baby. Oh, I love Tony Bloom.
Tony Bloom is a genius. He's a genius for what he's doing in these two teams.
If I want one owner to bankroll my team, it's Tony Bloom. He just has an idea and he lets you run with it. And I know there will be hiccups, I'm sure, along the way, but I think Brighton, Saint-Gilloise, it's the next multi-club structure that you're going to have to watch in the future.
And I'm going to be mentioning a player that for sure Tony Bloom can sign. Another Portuguese man, João Neves, another player that will for sure not leave the Portuguese national team. João Neves is the best midfielder in the Portuguese league. He was also the player with most ground duels won in the Champions League. Benfica didn't impress, but João Neves did so. Please see the pre-assist, the pass he did to Archens in Benfica's 3rd goal was elite and crucial against Red Bull Salzburg. João Neves is a player to go to Man City or to Bayern Munich. He has that high caliber, and he will for sure be a starter for a top team in Europe real soon. Elite decision-making, intensity in duels, phenomenal. João Neves has so many capabilities that he's already a top player at 19 years old. So keep going bold, João Neves. Intelligence, too.
Well,
he's so intelligent, Bretson.
Well, that goes without saying. I was just shocked seeing him live. And I like that he's kind of like a mighty might. I like that he's smaller, get this done. And actually, his IQ reminds me a little bit of the next guy I'm going to talk about, because I'm not really talking about, big, heavy hitters like João Neves, but Aruna Sangante. You've heard of him? He's the captain, 21-year-old captain center back for Le Havre, and had been with them in League 2 until they won promotion. He's got over 85 games for them, and he is earning all the plaudits in Ligue 1 this season. And he is the captain, if I did not already mention that, I think he's already got 6 clean sheets for them this season. They had 4 straight 0-0 results. That was a big reason because their defense is one of the best in Ligue 1. Their offense is absolutely horrendous, but they are still making their way through it. Now, Sangante's come up quite a bit recently, like on the lower end kind of cost efficiency scale of bigger clubs. It's more likely he has a stepping stone club like I could see Fulham going for him, because at 21 years old, he's played in the 6 for them. He's played at the 8, but obviously he excels at center back and has played most of it at center back and kind of marauds forward because he apparently is so damn smart. And that's what Le Havre likes about him. That's what a lot of Ligue 1 clubs. So if PSG or Lille or Stade Rennais or any of these clubs don't come in for him first, I could see somebody like a Fulham coming in for him, or somebody mid-tier Premier League coming in for this kid who's only 21. I don't think he's yet to be called up for Senegal. That's coming down the pike very shortly. But if you look at breakout stars in Ligue 1 this particular season, you will see Aruna Sangante at the tippy top of that list. And I am surprised he hasn't been talked about more.
Surprised, but scouts for sure will be paying attention, okay? This is a player that is having an impact for Le Havre and immediate, as you're mentioning. I think it's a cheat code to mention Bayer Leverkusen in the comment section. Players like Frimpong, Boniface, Florian Wirtz. Please do not do that, FC Wonderkid listeners, but let us know. Who are 5 players that you believe for sure teams will be fighting over that are not the names of Boniface, Florian Wirtz, Jeremy Frimpong, that we all know? That will be the case, people, okay? Let us know and subscribe to FC Wonderkid that we will be releasing a video with 5 players that absolutely need a move on YouTube, people, during the week. We will talk about the desperate new moves that need to happen. And last topic here, I think it's disrespectful, and we got to mention it here at FC Wonderkid. The FIFA Best Awards, Men's Best Awards. So wrong to see. If we see a FIFA Best Men's Player the FIFA Best Player nominees, we see Lionel Messi, Erling Haaland, and Kylian Mbappe. And it's disrespectful towards Man City to see those 3 being the choices. It's after the World Cup. It's after the World Cup, people. How can this be the case now?
The only way I can explain this, Alex, is that it's a marketing ploy. That's it. You know how there is no such thing as bad press, is what they say, right? And if Erling Haaland is one of the finalists, and he very, very likely is going to win the dang thing, my guess is that they decided to publicize the fact that the World Cup did not necessarily take part in this window, and then they still threw Lionel Messi in there. They still threw Kylian Mbappe. Kylian Mbappe deserves to be there more than Messi does in this instance. But at the same time, complete and utter disrespect to guys like Rodri, to Kevin De Bruyne. So I am with you in the camp. The only thing I can think of is let's piss everybody off so that they talk about it more. And they got us hook, line, and sinker. But at the same time, it needs to be said, like, have some flipping standards when it comes to these awards. Let us all understand exactly how they're voted on, what the criteria is, and then stick to the dang criteria. Please. Just do it. Because otherwise, it loses relevance. I don't care. You know who winds up getting, Erling Haaland winds up getting a nice little trophy, maybe a little bump in his bank account. I don't know. I don't know what comes after this. When it comes down to it, us as fans, it loses relevance. I mean, there's enough people out there that don't even like the Ballon d'Or conversation anymore. Right?
It's losing credibility as we speak.
It is.
Because of who wins.
Right.
For sure, the best FIFA Men's Award loses credibility with having Haaland, Messi, and Mbappe. Players that only won Liga. If you see the achievements, the justified achievements with Messi, they say Liga winner, team of the year of Liga, and a player that, yes, became the all-time goal scorer in the top 5 leagues. A heavy statement for sure, but is that to win the best player? It cannot be the case. If Erling Haaland loses this, it's a robbery. Daylight robbery. If Erling Haaland loses, FIFA the best award. Rodri deserves to be in the top 3 for sure. Maybe even a Vinicius Jr. for what he's done for Real Madrid and how important he was with Ancelotti. Without Vinicius Jr., I don't know if Ancelotti would have done such a good job for sure. That is fact. The qualifying period of the best FIFA award is from the 19th of December to the 20th of August. What did Messi win that is highly relevant to me in the discussion? I'm starting to believe that Ronaldo is hated a lot, Breton. I'm starting to believe that. The more time passes in my life, I'm starting to understand that Ronaldo says, "Look, people just hate me for being me," and I'm starting to see that, Breton.
You know what? Ronaldo will be 53 years old, scoring 30 goals in the Saudi Pro League and we'll still be having this conversation.
No. He might be going to the MLS one day. You never know. He'd like the World Cup. Maybe he's impressed with the World Cup. Maybe Ronaldo's impressed when he goes to play the World Cup and he says, "Oh, the States, the MLS, great facilities, great stadiums, grass pitches in all the stadiums now."
Not enough. I mean, Aaron Rodgers would tell you not enough grass pitches. But that's NFL.
Different sport.
But yeah, no, we're talking MLS really, really quickly. I got to tell you, if I'm disappointed in anybody, it's not this FIFA's best. I am disappointed in Major League Soccer right now. They just came out with their new competitive standards, their new changes. We all thought they were going to open the purse strings a little more for the owners, and they did not, sir. And I think it's going to wind up being either it's a massive, massive slap in the face to the owners that want to be ambitious in this league. So I hope that they renege. I hope they change some things. They also pulled all of their senior squads out of the U.S. Open Cup, which is like the FA Cup here, except a lot less.
The USL
interest,
teams
unfortunately.
Does any time the USL teams play against the MLS teams?
That's it. That's
doesn't
when it
happen.
happens, and that will not happen from here on out. They're going to review it year after year, but essentially they're making it very elitist and annoying, and they're doubling down on Leagues Cup.
So
now,
there's no promotion or relegation, and they do this too? Embarrassing.
Correct. It is. From a competitive standpoint, for somebody that has been a fan of watching the development of American soccer, American football over the years, it is kind of a slap in the face for what they're trying to do, which is maximize the competitive heaviness of when Messi and some of the big stars that come in, when they play, they want to maximize, not just the exposure, but the financials behind it. I guess it makes sense, but it still pisses me off no less, because I think there's room for all of the above, and there's room to cater to those that have watched the development over the years, and also the newfangled fans and eyeballs on the league. So I really hope that they renege and they change some things from here on out. With that said, it is what it is, and we'll see what happens. And welcome Emil Forsberg to the New York Red Bulls. But that's it.
I saw that. Emil Forsberg, that for sure, he's always been with the Red Bull group, and he keeps on doing it. And it's going to be really good to see a player that plays for Sweden. He plays for Swedish national team, a starter, Emil Forsberg. But let us know down below, what have we missed in episode 136? Like this video if you're listening to until now. Subscribe to FC Wonderkid because we will be releasing more videos on YouTube. And let us know, what have we missed once again? Thank you for listening to another FC Wonderkid podcast. And thank you for going bold, people.